this connection is going to hold. I have no idea what's happening in my part of the world tonight, but I've had a number of connection issues. So let's get on with it. Yeah, great. As I was asking, anyone on this call for the very first time? If you are, please just type in first time. And a number of you can recognize your name. So welcome back. Great to have you here. Tonight, I'm really just going to talk through, I suppose, 5 key steps that Robert Kiyosaki recommends to creating wealth. And what is it that you need to do? So, Sipo, well done. First time. Welcome. Great having you on the call. And welcome to the call for the first time. Great stuff. Anyone else? Irishan, managing his energy. Excellent. Yeah, so, some of you that were at some of our events when Robert was out here, you would have gone through this, but if you're anything like me, you might have forgotten some of it or most of it, because, as you know, when we learn, we generally pick up the stuff that we need to learn sort of now to implement if that's really what you're doing about learning. So I'm just going to share my screen. And so the question is, what can you do to become wealthy? Now, as normal, if you have any questions, please just type them in the box and we'll work through them, and I'll get to them. Those of you that are new, I love being interactive. Those of you that are not new, you know that I love being interactive, so you got the deal. So I'm just going to run through 5 things that Robert talks about to create wealth. Now, the first step for me, for creating wealth and creating money, the first step is you need to learn how to make money. So you need to, step number 1, prior to what Robert teaches is, I believe that the first step is you need to learn how to generate income. And those of you that have been around me or with me for long enough or been in any of my rooms, you'll know that one of the sayings that we have is sales equals income. So step number 1 is you need to learn how to sell. And the better you sell, the better you earn, because it's the ability to generate income in various ways. So you need to be able to sell to generate money. If you're looking for investors and partners, you need to be able to sell. So wherever you're at, the first step is you need to be able to sell in order to generate income. Step number 2, in Robert's terms, what can you do? The first thing is invest in what you love. A lot of people ask, what should I invest in? How should I invest? Should I invest in gold and silver? Should I invest in stocks and shares? Should I invest in property? What do you advise? And I've learned this from Robert. Robert never gives advice on what you should invest in. His advice is this: invest in what you love. What is it that you have a passion for? What is it that you love doing? So there's a couple of things that you might be able to invest in that you could love. 1, business. Personally, for me, that is my passion. I love business. I love helping people in business. I love building my own businesses. I love trying to grow my own businesses. And when you're investing, it's something that I've studied for a long time, that I've been involved in for a long time. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and it's a natural it's a natural fit for me because I don't have to push myself to do it, because it is something that I love. So how many of you love business? If you love business, just type in love business. Gives me an idea. How many of you love business? Some of you are just getting started in business, but it's investing in businesses, it's growing a business, it's getting a business going. Excellent. Yeah, so Marlon loves building businesses, and we spend a lot of time talking around business and building business. So Suri loves business. Irishan, yes, to get it going. The second thing is real estate, property. Do you love property? Can you get to love property? What is it about property that you love? Robert says They do property because they know, understand, and love property. It's what they it's what they love. So can you invest in property? Is it something that you love? Paper, stocks and shares. You know, when I was in Sydney recently, and with Nicole, my wife, and my girls, we had the opportunity of spending some time with Andy Tanner. Andy is Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Advisor on paper assets, stocks and shares. And one thing that is very clear when you speak to Andy, Andy loves stocks and shares. Andy, you know, it's something he's done for a long time. It's something he really understands. But more important than just understanding it, it's something he loves. And how many of you think that he's very successful at it? Yeah. So paper, you know, personally for me, I've never, you know, it's something that I've never sort of gone down the route of, you know, to learning about stocks and shares and energy and in business. And, you know, for me, my goal is create results in business, generate income out of business, and use that income in order to invest in real estate and start and create a real estate portfolio. Now, you could do the same with paper. You could, you know, do paper and invest in something else. So those are the three. The fourth one is commodities. You know, gold, silver, those type of things. Now, you can buy and sell gold and silver. You can trade gold and silver, but you can also, invest in gold and silver for the long term. One of the things Robert teaches is gold and silver. If you use it, is like an insurance policy against everything else, because it's the one thing that has really maintained its value. And then the fifth thing that he says you can invest in is cryptocurrency, what he terms today to be man's money. And so, you know, I've got some colleagues and some friends and some people in our BSTA business that just love cryptocurrency. They, you know, when you speak to them, that's all they speak about. So step number one, invest in what you love. Now, if you don't love any of those yet, well, maybe you're going to have to find one of them that you're going to love doing, love working in, love understanding. Number two, study what you love. And I think this is one of the most powerful lessons that I've got from Robert, is this idea of studying. You know, people like business and then they'll go and give their money to somebody else to invest in business, or they think they're going to make money out of real estate, so they'll go and find an agent and say, you know, buy me a property or buy me some property and make it work for me. And, you know, as I've heard Robert say before, you know, if you really do not know what to do with your money, believe me, somebody else does. So, you know, the next step is you got to study. If you want to be in business, you got to study what it is to be in business, you know, and studying is go to seminars, read books. You know, what is it that you are reading when it comes to business? So, for example, you know, one book that I've spent a lot of this year studying is this book called More Important Than Money, which is a book by Robert and all the Rich Dad advisors around building a team in business. You know, so what is it that you are prepared to study? So what can you study? Well, you guessed it. You can study business, you can study real estate, paper, commodities, and cryptocurrency. But a key component is you've got to study it. So, like, I'll take cryptocurrency, for example. I don't know a lot about it. I haven't given myself the time to study it. I haven't given myself to really understand it. So I don't put any money in that environment. Now, some people will call me mad. Some people, well, whatever. The reality is this, is I'm not studying it. I don't have the personal knowledge around it. Whereas what I'm studying is I'm studying business, real estate, and in commodities, gold, learning how to understand those type of things. Why? Because I love business. I'm intrigued with real estate, and I just really want to learn more about gold. And that's just me. So I don't know, what is it that you would love to study? And the key word here is study. Throw yourself into it. Understand how it works, why it works the way it works. How do you get it going? Now, when I talk study, I don't talk study in terms of the book study, get a degree on business or get a degree on real estate. I took the study of, like when Robert and Kim studied real estate to get going, they took some courses around real estate management, real estate investing, buying and selling real estate. And then what they did is they went out and they bought 100 properties without buying any. So they went through the whole process of what it was to buy a business, how to do the deal, how to do all the numbers. And they did that 100 times before they bought their first property. So they studied. That is, they really got deep into study. Business and entrepreneurship. I've spent the last 11 plus years studying business and entrepreneurship. What makes entrepreneurs tick? What is it that builds the best business teams? How to lead people in a team? How to lead yourself in a team? What are the numbers around business? Business, the language of business is a numbers game. Understanding the core drivers in any business. What generates income? What generates profit? What are the key numbers that you're driving in terms of business? And that would be the same, when you speak to a guy like Andy Tanner, he understands, he loves, and he studies paper assets in the terms of stocks and shares. What about gold? When you speak to Robert, that Robert is a student of money and is without a doubt a student of gold and silver. He understands it. He spends a lot of time studying it. The friends of mine that I speak to who are doing really well in the cryptocurrency game, they really, really study it, spend a lot of time in it, spend a lot of time learning the different crypto types, different things. You see people that sort of try to do it from an arm's length that are not studying it. They surprisingly, many of them don't succeed. So step number 2, study what you love. So any questions so far on these? Any questions or comments? Just fire them away and we'll go through them. So if you have any questions or have any comments, or even just if you're getting value out of this, just type in getting some value. Okay, great. Thanks for the feedback. So as we move along, so Julian, your question is, what would you suggest to study business? Well, I think the first thing is, who do you hang around with when it comes to business? What books do you? There are hundreds of different books that you could study when it comes to business. Hundreds of seminars that you could go. For me, it's finding people who you connect with, who you connect with in mission and vision and spirit and that sort of stuff, and study and learn through that. For me, I've been working with Blair Singer for nearly 12 years. He's a Rich Dad advisor, and through that, I just love the work of Robert and Kim Kiyosaki and the Rich Dad advisors, and how they think about business and entrepreneurship and what they do. So, for me, that is what I study, and study the Rich Dad advisors, study the various things that Robert and the Rich Dad advisors teach, and have over a decade thrown myself into that world. So there's lots to study. You got to find something that you connect with, that you understand. And then the second thing is this. You've got to, like anything, you have to start doing and applying it to learn. So like Robert and Kim did, is they went out and started practicing real estate. So if you want to invest in business, for me, is you got to start doing a bit of business so you understand business. If you want to invest in stocks and shares and understand paper, you got to start investing in it. And you can start off really small. If you want to understand commodities, you can buy some gold. It doesn't have to be huge amounts, but you can start studying and following the process of what happens as you go along. I think I've sort of heard this pretty often in the last couple of weeks. Is never be scared to start small, because many things that started small became huge. And when you're learning, start small. When we were in Sydney, Andy Tennis, two boys were there, and they were speaking on stage with my girls. And one thing that Andy asked him, he said, why are you guys investing right now? What is it for? Is it to make money? And both of them said, no, it's not to make money. Right now, it is to learn. It is to study and to learn. So, they buy stocks and shares. If, for example, they chose their own stocks that they were going to buy. So they bought McDonald's stocks and they bought Walt Disney stocks. When they were asked, why did you do that? The boys said, well, everyone's got to eat, and McDonald's is pretty fun for people to eat, and it seems pretty popular. So that seems a pretty good share. And food's a pretty good share. Something to invest in, because people are always going to have to eat, and people like having fun. So what a better place to invest in than Walt Disney? Now, they've made a little bit of money, nothing huge, but what they're doing is they're learning all the time. So you got to start off and you got to start studying and learning. Step number 3, make friends and find friends and surround yourself with friends who love what you love. So if you love business, hang around people who love business. If what is it that you love? And I suppose, that's one reason why I've always been around Blair Singer, for example, because I love what he loves. I love teaching and training people. I love adding value to people. I love business. I love business in the form of building, teaching and training businesses. I love business in the form of building other businesses, my own businesses, and helping other people build business. And so who better to hang around with someone that does and loves those things. And, at any opportunity I get to be able to spend time with Robert, Kim, with the Rich Dad Advisors, because, they love what they do. They love investing. They love real estate. They love business. They love the things that they invest in. And when you hang around with like-minded people, you create like-minded results. So find friends, find people to hang out with that love what you love. One of the first pieces of advice that Blair gave me when I first started working with him is, Barry, if you want to change your life, change your friends. Now, for me, it wasn't, what he didn't mean was, sort of go home and tell all your mates that you're changing and they're bad for you and they're bad influence and they don't think like you think and they don't love what you love anymore, so you're finding new friends. That's not what he said. What he meant was, start hanging out with different people. Start finding different avenues to associate and connect with other people. And over a period of time, you'll start making different friends who start, who have the same interests and love around what you love. If that makes sense. So point number 3, hang out with friends who love what you love. And I did an exercise today. I've seen Robert do it, and I've seen Jim Rohn. Those of you that have ever heard of Jim Rohn, one of the past gurus from before, and go from there. It's someone, Galaxy Grand Prime. I don't really get your name, but what do you mean? Just give me a breakdown of what do you mean by not supersets? Was that? Oh, I think it's Muzi. Muzi, is that you online? This is too funny. If it is Muzi, I get exactly what he's talking about. I think it is Muzi. If it is Muzi, Muzi was in. I was training. I was doing a training session today in the area that Muzi lives in. When he was at the seminar I did last week, he said, you're going to train in the gym there before you go and do your training session. And I said yes. So he rocked up, and it was pretty funny. In his mind, he thought he was going to train with this old dude. But so Muzi, I get what you're talking about when it comes not supersets. Hang out with people who love what you love, and you don't really love supersets. but you do love business and you do love making money, don't you? And that's really what we spend a lot of time talking about is how to grow his business and how to create income and move through there. What were the numbers? So, hang out with people that love what you love. And yeah, in our discussion this morning, both of us love training, both of us love exercising, but we also both love business, and the conversation is just so easy, because we're talking about things that we enjoy, that we have a passion for. So, how many of you have put yourself in an environment where you around people, but you actually just don't even love what the conversation's about, and it becomes tough? The same love and passion as you for things, that conversation just flows. At the end of our session, he said to me, can I have 5 minutes? I think 20 minutes later, we were drawing numbers and writing up numbers and drawing a bit of strategy. And, after a gym session, that was really cool. So Mizzy, I do think that's you. And great comment. Number 4, have a financial team. Too many people are trying to do this on their own. And I think, 18 months ago, I went to a program in Phoenix, Arizona that Robert put on, an entrepreneurial program. And in that program, Robert said, the first and most important person in your business is this person, the bookkeeper, not the attorney, but the bookkeeper. And too many small to medium-sized business owners do not have a bookkeeper. They try and do their own books, or they get their wife to do their books, or someone in the family to do the books. And that is what he said is that is a disaster waiting to happen. And you've got to have the right bookkeeper. And I had a great friend of ours doing our books, really, really superb guy, but we just weren't on the same track getting the results that we needed to get. And that's all the advice that I needed. Robert didn't say go out and change your bookkeeper. He just said your bookkeeper is the most important person in your business. And if you don't have a bookkeeper that holds you accountable and that drives you and your business to do the right things, then you have a problem. And that wasn't happening. And pretty simply, I came back, found a new accountant, new bookkeeper, and that's made a dramatic change in my business and in my life. So who is on your financial team? Do you have an attorney? Do you have access to an attorney? Do you have a bookkeeper? You're trying to do your own books. Do you have an accountant? And do you have a banker? And do you know your banker? And I think, that's one of the hardest things that I've sort of encountered, is really finding a banker who is prepared and understands small to medium-sized businesses. How many of you find that problem? So, I think many people can find a bookkeeper. You've got to go out and find the bookkeeper. Too many people are saying, well, I don't have any money, so I'll nickel and dime it at the moment. It'll cost you a lot. Believe me, I've made that mistake too often. It'll cost you a lot more. So you can go out and find a good bookkeeper. If you don't know, access to a good bookkeeper. Same thing as an accountant. You can find a good accountant. Often a good accountant has a good bookkeeper that they either work with or work with themselves. An attorney, that's different, because there's different attorneys for different things. When you're setting up a business, when you're setting up investments, you need a corporate attorney, you need a structure attorney, you need a tax. But so over a period of time, as your business and your investing grows, so you've got to really start to develop that. And for me, the hardest thing I found, I don't know about you guys, is I've struggled finding someone in my bank who actually understands business and is prepared and able to sit down and talk business and really take it from there. So small to medium-sized business, if you're self-employed or you employ a few people, that is very hard to find a banker who can sit down and really treat you and understand that. Just type in if you find the same thing. I can remember when I was young and my dad was running his business, every single month he used to say to me, I'm off to see my banker. And what he meant is I'm going into my bank to sit down with my bank manager to talk about where I sit. How many of you have actually tried to go into your branch and meet your bank manager? I don't even know if they exist, So So, what I'm finding and talking to people, and when I'm speaking to small to medium-sized entrepreneurs, one of the biggest frustrations is they phone through, and what they do is they get a call center and somebody that actually tries to sell them a product, but it's not there to really help and assist. I can remember a couple of years ago, I got a hold of one of the banks that I'm involved in and said, what I would like is I'd like a personal banker in my business. And what I was told is we'll look at it up until then, you can go through our banking suite and speak to people that are in there. Now, I don't know about you, that's very hard to get advice. I was amazed. So, Irishan says, I'm struggling to find one banker. Actually, service is shocking from all banks. So, how many of you find the same sort of thing? So while we talk about a financial team, the deal is you've got to go out and you've got to search for the right people. It's finding and attracting the right people around you. Any comments on this piece around having a financial team? Any questions? The other thing is, any of you who want to, if you want to just either type in or just open your mic and ask a question, please feel free to do that. So, go back to this. You've got to have a team. You've got to have a financial team. Playing this game on your own is very, very difficult. Get the right team of advisors. When it's, Irishan, let's open a business bank. Yeah, that will be quite interesting. So, Margriet says, totally agree. I like when it comes to tax, for me, I sort of, I look at people like Tom Wheelwright, who's Robert Kiyosaki's tax advisor, for advice, because he really understands tax from an entrepreneurial perspective. So if you're an entrepreneur, do you have the right tax advisor, the right accountant that understands? My previous accountant and bookkeeper, he was a great accountant and bookkeeper, but he didn't understand where we were moving in terms of building our business and moving into that entrepreneurial sort of focused side of the BI quadrant and running from there. So, and then number 5, what can you do is you can teach people what you love, and you can teach people who you love. So teach people around you. We have a saying that says, user, I'm hazarding a guess that is not your name. What? Please just type in your name. Good, Seamus. Excellent, Seamus. Yeah, you say you're an ex-banker, and so would you agree with my sentiments that bankers these days do not understand business? That it's a process of putting you into a system. And I had someone come from my bank the other day because I think it was the 15th complaint I made that I just needed help. Lady came and sat and said, "How can I help you?" And before I finished, she tried to sell me 4 different packages that would help me. And I was like, "Ma'am, that is not why I asked you. I asked you to come here so I can structure finance and that sort of stuff." So so Seema says wholeheartedly, just to count numbers, 100%. So part of that is finding the right team. So thank you for that, Seamus. So and the last thing is learning how to teach. We have a saying that says this: teach what you need to learn. And as I work closer with Robert and teach the Awaken Your Financial Genius, one of the things that they teach, in my learning ability, it absolutely skyrockets when I have to teach it. So that saying that says teach what you need to learn. Find something that you want to learn, go out and teach others, and it really, really will dramatically grow your learning ability. And I don't know about you, but one of the things that when and look, teaching is my business. Teaching, training, that's what I do. But in terms of teaching, I think one of the things I keep saying to myself is you've got to be congruent in what you teach. you've got to be, I just believe this, how many realize there's a lot of fake teachers out there? There's a lot of people that are teaching stuff and I don't believe that, if you're going to teach, I don't know, if you're going to teach dog grooming, you got to be the best dog groomer in the world. But you got to be on the journey to being a dog groomer so you can teach dog grooming. Does that make sense? Or, if you're in sales, do you have to be the number one salesperson in the country to be the number one sales teacher or sales coach? No, but you got to teach. So, the more I teach Awaken Your Financial Genius, the more time I spend with Robert, the more I push myself to learn more and take the steps around things like investing in gold, understanding silver, those type of things, because it's creating that I just believe, there's a biblical saying that says this: teachers will be judged more harshly than other people, and I believe for me that's because when you teach, you gotta try and walk, or being prepared to walk the talk, and not just talk the talk. So, a powerful way that you can grow financial things we recommend people to teach is, come and join us for a cash flow game, get a cash flow game, find a group of people and play with them once a month, once a week, whatever it might be, but use the game for you to learn what you teach others through that process. You do not have to be a Robert Kiyosaki and have thousands of properties in order to be able to teach property. You take the journey of, learning about property, and then you put a group of people together and say, this is what I learned this week when I went up to uncover a little bit more about property. What have you guys learned? What do you think about this? And you start creating that. So, 5 key steps that Robert teaches around what can you do to start and keep on the journey to create wealth. First, invest in what you love. So if you love business, focus on business, real estate, paper, commodities, crypto. Find something that you love and invest in that. Study what you love. How many of you realize that? I look at school, and I have some very different ideas about school and concepts around school. But I look at my youngest daughter, for example, at school. She's started her first business when she was 7. She had another one when she's 10. She's about to start her third one now. She's 14. And what are the subjects she loves? Accounting, business, accounting and business. Those are her absolute 2 favorite subjects. And then she's very creative. She's entrepreneurial as well. Not that you have to be creative to be entrepreneurial. She loves art, hates flipping history, hates science. And so should I get upset with her, or should I encourage her to study and get involved in what she really loves? Because I believe that is where she will really, really succeed. So study what you love. 3, hang out with people who love what you love. Find like-minded people. Find people of the same ilk who are passionate about what you're passionate about. Learn together, study together, grow together. Find that's one of the reasons we have that Awaken Your Financial Genius 10-week program and run Financial Genius programs is that people can hang out with other people that are on the same journey, or in terms of financial freedom as themselves. So get involved in those type of things. Come to one of our cash flow games. Come and join us on the Awaken Your Financial Genius program. Those type of things. Go to entrepreneurial events where you're hanging out with entrepreneurs, for example, who think, act, and want to create what you want to create, and choose the environment that you want to be in. Number 4, have a financial team. Start building a bookkeeper, an accountant, a banker, and an attorney. And as you grow, I just learned as my business is growing, as it keeps growing, so that team becomes more and more and more important. Because pretty simple. When we're small and have a small business, no one's interested in you. The bigger you get, the more interest there is. You just look at what happens. People can say things around a Brian, no one bothers them. but they go on radio and say something that someone said on a bribe, because you're big, boom, people go off it in all areas of life. You look at Donald Trump used to say stuff and no one bothered. Now he's the president, he says stuff, everyone goes after him. So it's the same in your business. The bigger your business gets, the more you've got to protect yourself, the more you need to get the right advice, the more you need to surround yourself with the people that have the right advice. And fifth and lastly, teach people what you love. The best way to grow yourself and grow others is to teach. And so 5 key steps. Nilan says, I created a program called Financial Finesse. I teach people on how to achieve financial freedom using 4 pillars: spend less, save more, invest better, and protect wisely. Yeah, so I was able to pay off 20-year bond in 5 years. I teach them how to do it. That's great. So wherever people sort of fit in and how they want to do it. I come out of the school of thought that saving is a great discipline, but saving, for example, my sort of thought is will never allow you to become rich. However, taking that saving, like you say, is learning how to invest. Again, what are you going to invest in? What is it? What teaching is a key aspect to that. So, any other questions, comments, and any even outside of those questions around creating wealth, sales, business, entrepreneurship that I can help with? Did you guys get value this evening? Talking about saving, many people are holding a lot of money holding a lot of their wealth in cash. And if you look at the rand, for example, if you're sitting on a lot of cash, you're on hiding to nothing. If you had to put that in gold, for example, what would happen? It's the same with the US dollar. If you listen to some of the forecasters around the world, a lot of them are saying that the US dollar is going to it might take a hiding. They're predicting to US dollars, and it sits in an account and it goes bang, you lose your wealth. So it's being clear on where you put it in and what you hold it. How you hold it in what form of value. So any other questions or comments? So just how many of you would be interested in coming to spend an evening with Robert Kiyosaki? How many of you would be interested in doing that? A group, 3.5 hours with and learning directly from Robert. Who would be interested in that? Just if you would be, just type a yes in there, and my team knows to chat to you closer to the time, because towards the end of the year, I'm gonna have Robert out here for a day, and we're gonna set up an event with him for a sort of relatively small group of people. So if that's something you'd like to do, excellent. Okay, great. So we'll let you know the details of that in the next couple of days or so. We also have an Awaken Your Financial Genius introductory program coming up. That's a sort of 3.5 hour session around the core concepts that Robert and the Rich Dad Advisors teach, and gives you an introduction into the 10-week program that I run, and called Awaken Your Financial Genius, which is really 10 weeks of teaching and learning from some of the Rich Dad Advisors. And I know Irishan is on the current program. Irishan, just are you getting value out of that, out of the 10-week Awaken Your Financial Genius program so far? While he's typing that in, Evan, Yeah, if you know how to sell, you can generate income. I've always believed in that. The better you know how to sell, the better you have the ability to generate income and create cash. What I am learning, and it's been reinforced more and more and more, is what is it that you do with the cash that you generate, so that cash starts creating more in the right environment. So Sarishan says one of the best things you can do in your life. Thanks for that. So if you want to know more about the Next Awaken Your Financial Genius program, then either we'll send you an email around that, or come and join us at our next Awaken Your Financial Genius introductory program, and Marilise will send you all the details on that. So there's Saturday the 17th of November, and the single ticket is 150 Rand, and it's from about 9 until 2 at the Nickel Hotel in Bedford View. So come along to that. If you have teenagers, I encourage you to bring them with you. My youngest daughter started playing the cash flow game probably when she was about 7, and yesterday she was very proud of herself. The teacher in her careers class was talking about getting a job and why it's important to do all that sort of stuff. And my daughter stood up and said, "Ma'am, I disagree with you." Now she's 14 in grade 8. She said, "This is what I've learned." And she said, "Can I?" And the teacher said, "Well, Danielle, why don't you come up to the board and show us?" And she spent the next 10 minutes teaching the cash flow quadrant and why being in the E or the S is very difficult, and you need to learn how to move to the B and the I, and then why people on the B and the I side pay less tax than the E and the S. And she just said the teacher kept saying, "Yes, well, but this, that." So bring your kids along if you have some teenagers, and they can definitely come and join in. So that's happening at the Nickel. And if there's no other comments, hope you guys got some value out of this evening. As you know, we do this webinar every Tuesday evening. We alternate. One week is wealth and business, and the other week is really a focus on sales and marketing. And if it's not me, we have various people from our team, from my team, who hosts a webinar, and you can get on this anytime you want. We talk a different topic all the time. So thank you for taking the time out tonight. Thank you for investing in yourselves, and well done for that. And great to be with you this evening. Have an awesome evening, and have a cracker of a week. Get out there, sell, make some money, and help other people do the same thing. And I don't know about you, I just believe we have the most amazing country and the most amazing continent, and it's time we all start changing the way we think about where we invest and who we invest in and how we create wealth. So I don't know about you, but I'm on a mission. Finish off. Any questions or comments? Marlon, I am handing back to you.
Great, Barry. That was excellent. Thank you very much for this evening. Everybody else, thank you very much for joining us. Just to let you know, this webinar will be up on the Uncovering Greatness site in the resources section, where you can get all the other past webinars. For those of you who maybe missed last week, or you maybe want to just catch more learnings, or maybe you missed something. So feel free to go back there and peruse. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Barry. See you guys next week.